No, you're not going anywhere. You'll be missing something anyway. Right. Yeah. I mean, they saw a middle-aged man and they felt, well, he has nothing interesting to tell me, so I don't blame them. I will start with a very short introduction of myself. My name is Nweke, born and raised in Nigeria, and migrated to Europe. I currently live in Belgium and have two young children, young adults, 24 and 22, both born here. So when we talk about African diaspora youth, a part of my story, a part of my experience is derived from being an active dad, raising two young African diaspora kids here. Professionally, I am a management consultant. I am also a politician of the Green Party, currently serving my third term of office as a municipal legislator in Ostend City Council. So this is actually my 13th year. My God, how time flies. And so by the time I serve at my current term, I would have been 18 years in politics. My brief for this afternoon is straightforward. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as it is straightforward. I'm meant to talk to you about developing leadership competencies, overcoming obstacles, and influencing governance for the growth of Africa, but then with special reference to the millennial age bracket. When I look around, I can see a bit of them here. It's actually a mixed house, millennials and the father of the millennials. People like me, yeah? People like Lukumba. Not you. So, I have tried to structure the presentation to be somewhere between practical experiences, but based on some known theories, development theories, leadership theories, and so on and so forth. Just the basics that you need to have a firm understanding of the topic itself. Now, in general, we'll be looking at the summary of core issues, literature review. What are the studies, existing studies, and instances that inform what I'll be talking to you about, or some of the assumptions that I have made. We'll see one slide on that. And then we'll dig into leadership itself, the missing link in Africa. And then somebody made reference, I believe it was the lady that presented on the German project targeting young people for exchange programs that talked about the growing population of African youths in Africa. And then I would also want us to look at it from the perspective of whether it is an asset for Africa and the rest of the world, or it is a liability, in terms of the increasing number of Africans. Now, we will also look at youths as victims of failed African leadership. and that is a statement. I mean, I will leave one or two things, on the scale, on the balance. But as far as this particular one is concerned, I am stating that African youths are victims of failed leadership of my generation and perhaps 2 generations before mine. I've been feeling very happy, very aspirational since yesterday, following all the presentations, because they were very, positive stories, very, aspirational ones that gives hope that the continent is not entirely collapsing. But of course, from time to time, we need to look ourselves straight in the eyes and tell ourselves the truth. And part of the truth is that my generation and the ones before ours, I'm 53 years old. So just so you have some ideas. So my generation and those before us have failed the youths, and strangely enough, we're expecting the same youths that we have failed to perform magic and be the epitome of, leadership, hard work, and all of that, as if we have handed them the tools to be the fantastic people we expect. So we're going to look at that, and then we will delve into 2 case cost studies, 2 examples of how it could be better. Now, I chose 2 because yesterday, and I believe continuing today, we've seen quite a number of initiatives that you can consider as very good ones to cite as examples. So I don't need to, repeat those, but there are 2 that I have selected, and we will look at them. Some of the lexicons that will be, coming up in the course of the presentations: leadership competencies, leadership development, development of competencies, overcoming obstacles, be it personal obstacles, environmental, which is societal, and then professional, career, and so on and so forth, and then influencing governance for growth, personal growth, or that of the continent or the world as a whole, and then the target group, the millennials. So those are the core issues that we'll be discussing. That was by way of a general introduction, just so that you have some sense of what will be keeping us busy in the next 15-20 minutes. Now, when you review existing literatures on Africa development, youth, you will be depressed, of course. But then, if you are one of the lucky ones, as you guys are, that you came here since yesterday and have been enjoying, the fantastic stories, it calms you down a bit. But I do like from time to time to use the shock therapy to bring us to reality. And part of that reality is that when you review existing literatures, a few things keep coming back. Perennial prevalence of conflicts, interstate conflict, intrastate conflict situations, decayed and delayed infrastructure. Some of us who still go back home, perhaps if you left 10-15 years ago, a building or public infrastructure that was very, very new, that you see there, no investment in maintaining it and keeping it running. And then trade deficits, balance of trade issues that African governments have to continually deal with, unemployment epidemic, because that's what it is. And please don't trust those figures that African governments flash on our faces every time. If you want to know the actual unemployment situation in Africa, look within your immediate environment, your family, for example. Take young people, take all the people within the employment bracket and ask yourself, if they are 10, you will probably find that only 3 are employed, or maybe even underemployed. So you don't need to look at any other statistics to tell you that 70% of people in Africa are unemployed. It's as simple as that. Of course, in the books, they will be stated, differently. And by the way, it happens here as well. I mean, figures are cooked up for political reasons also. It's just that it's, serious in Africa. And that brings about astronomical rate of poverty in Africa, battered and opportunity-strapped young population. I mean, with all that I have explained, so far, it is very easy to find young, depressed, and very, very angry young people in Africa. And I'm happy for you that you came back not kidnapped. I'm not making up excuses for the people who almost kidnapped you, but actually you should have pity for those people who were going to kidnap you, because if you should have a problem, it should be with the government, who has provided no perspectives for them, who have provided no security for them. So if you were kidnapped and you were in a room with them, you should have been praying with them. And then you join forces to, to rescue yourselves, because you are under the bondage of the government. So leadership is in the hands of very greedy and corrupt old men. I left the women out of it because there are not very many of them in the top echelon of the leadership. Liberia was lucky to have had a female, head of state. Tell me anywhere else. They are not very much. So the problem is us, the old men, who stay in and refuse to either raise successors or just, decide to stay there because of some atrocities they may have committed, afraid that the moment they leave office, they will end up in places that they don't like, including the International Criminal Court in Hague. I remember we were on holiday in I don't know what I've done now. Yeah, we were on holiday in Holland, and we decided we were going to visit, just pay a short visit to the International Criminal Court. One of my sons said, "Oh, that would be an interesting visit, because I like to see the place I want to send most of the African leaders." So the conclusion, and you will find that in most literatures dealing with Africa, is that Africa is a continent of missed opportunities. One good news is that towards the end of this presentation, we'll be looking at, or we will be seeing, actually with a testimony. There is someone here with an initiative that will, give some testimony about the fact that Africa cannot perpetually remain in the bondage that it is.